All right, here we back are for a Journey to King's Cross, a Harry Potter book podcast and everything. And this is another special episode and everything. Harry Potter, what if? Now we're going to have this broken down into 3 different sections and stuff. And each of those sections we're going to discuss things. This is all attached to book 1 specifically. And any of the ideas that we add to it, we might jump back in like future what ifs if we continue to do this.
Just book by book basis what ifs.
Yes.
How it would have changed the plot of that book.
We've got our section over there notes wise, so if you hear a little bit of typing, it's probably me adding or taking away or putting on notes. I really did touch on this earlier on, but we've added a couple of extra details. But first part is going to be Harry Potter female and looks like mom alterations and stuff. Boy or girl, we're going to be doing that separately because this could have some impacts and stuff, and I do kind of want to have like some back and forth on that. This is basically Harry different gender and how we think this might have necessarily impacted the plot of book 1 specifically, and seeing if we can snowball this into other aspects. Part 2 for this, whether it's going to be this is all going to be in part 1, part 2, and part 3 all in the same video. It's getting a little on the late side, so I don't want to keep Kimmy up for too long. Is going to be Harry raised by, and yes. So we've already got like 4 people on our listing and stuff along those lines, and if anybody wants to like spitball other characters and stuff that could have potentially raised Harry at some point, I loved the idea of trying to make a reasonable explanation for why this is going on and stuff. I've got a funny idea for how McGonagall ends up with Harry. We'll get to it when we get to it. And the third part is wild card. Not necessarily as wild as I would like to make it out to be and stuff, but we have Harry in different houses. The biggest wild card one, character shifts and stuff along those lines. We might add to this or come back to this one specifically because who knows when inspiration might strike us for the insanity that is the wizarding world. But our 3 that we have on there: Harry in different house, Draco is nice. Question mark? We've got I got a little bit of wiggle room in that department. And what if the Dursleys were nice? I have to admit that was definitely the most out of the box one, considering I don't hear too many what if stories about the Dursleys.
I think we like to hate on the Dursleys.
We really do. They're such easy targets, to be perfectly honest. So, doubling back up to the top of the actual docket, we have Harry female. We're going to probably split this up a little bit about whether or not he runs mom or dad in terms of taking off after and stuff. We'll go with mom first because that's the easy literary thing and stuff. You know, the boys look like their dad, the girls look like their mom, and
Unless
they often take up after the opposite personality.
Unless they're my kids, in which case they both look like their damn dad.
Genetics is a bitch.
First off, if Harry looked like his mom with the red hair, his interaction with Draco would have been so different. Red hair, hand-me-down clothes, you must be a Weasley.
Oh, God.
Like Ron would have been right there being like, fuck you, bitch, I'm the Weasley.
Well, because his first interaction was in Diagon Alley
in
the
right.
shop.
Yes.
He would have thought, especially not having his parents, or her parents around, Draco would have thought that Harry was a Weasley.
Oh, my God. You must be a Weasley.
Oh, what?
This is the Oh. That would throw Malfoy off, I think. All right, we're already off to a different start because I feel like
you didn't even think about this.
We are already altering the story quite a bit by this by this change, and I love this sort of thought process. So now the $1 million question is do we let him actually continue on? Because I feel like Draco at the end of that chapter was getting close to actually asking Harry his name before being carted off by saying he was done.
I don't think he would have.
Because this would have been the top of the conversation.
He wouldn't have cared.
He would have been at the top of the conversation because he'd be like, "You must be a Weasley,"
if he spoke
and
to her
Harriet's
at all.
And Harriet's like, "Oh, that's another possibility right there." Does Draco Malfoy take the time to make take a shot at a potential Weasley? Do we see? Can we see it? I gotta be honest, with how many times he takes snipes at Ron over the course of the series, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't make some sort of offhand comment.
But he never takes shots at Ginny.
Yes, he does.
Does he?
You got yourself a girlfriend there, Potter.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
That's not
Harry
a shot
liked.
at Ginny. That's
I don't think he liked your poem there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
so
right.
Ginny does.
But that's second book talk. Anyway,
It's still. Well,
you're right. You're right. I brought it up. It's my fault.
My
But
thought
okay.
process being though is if
He
Harry
probably would've-
takes up after his dad while he's female.
Oh God.
Oh,
Draco's gonna
she's
get
gonna
jacked.
turn around and look at him as it's like, I'm Harriet Potter, bitch. What the fuck is a Weasley? And that just changes the entire dynamic between these two before Draco even gets back, because he now knows who Harriet is, what she looks like before they get on to the actual
Here's
train
another
itself.
one. Would Draco
and
have
gets
a crush on her?
Dude, there is enough AO3
We're
fanfic
not going
about
with Draco.
those two screwing when they're both guys.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can- and
Specifically-
Lily was apparently good enough looking to keep Snape on the hook after her death for an entire almost 18 years.
Oh my
If
god.
Harriet
you're right.
takes up
Draco would have
after...
spent his whole time trying to get her to like him.
100%.
Oh my god!
100%.
Did we accidentally create a female Harry where Draco Malfoy is low-key getting a better redemption story than he does in the original book?
Here's my thought. Harry's female, looks like his mom, acts like
It looks like...
Acts like he's
her. Yeah, looks like Lily,
Oh,
acts
God.
like James. Gonna turn around, whip her head, and be like, I'm sorry, what the hell is a Weasley? I'm Potter, bitch. Get this right.
Okay, but
Draco's
that sounds
gonna
more
be
like
like-
what Lily would do.
Draco would probably be like, holy fuck.
Oh no!
Draco's gonna be like, damn!
Shot through the heart.
And go to
Instant love.
Oh, even if he doesn't know what that is and everything, it may oh god, this is gonna be like, oh, if they pull your hair, they like you, sort of thing. Only dialed up to 11. Draco being Draco being obsessed with Harriet Potter, basically stuff along those lines,
But
goes from something he gets picked on by his dad being annoyed to. Just date the girl already, son. I'm sick and tired of you talking about her.
So would Molly Weasley do a double take on her kids when she
1,
sees
2, 3, 4.
the red hair? Be like, wait.
I have one daughter. Why are there two?
Or if it was a boy with red hair, also like,
I feel like, didn't Lily had more
What?
of an auburny hair, though? Not like the shock red?
true, but still, it's
That would-
enough to
like,
give pause.
I feel,
Enough, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
It's just like-
wait, red, 1, 2, there's an
Wait a minute.
Your
Why do
child
I?
here.
Your
What?
hair's too dark, never mind.
I could easily see like a minor double take. It's
To
like
be
1,
fair,
2, 3,
though,
4, 5, 6.
Auburny hair
As a parent, you
starts
could be
out very
exhausted.
vivid,
So
typically. So a younger Harriet would have brighter hair. It usually later fades to the auburny color.
4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, 8, 9. Wait, 9?
Listen,
What?
Molly can't keep track that Ron doesn't like burgundy or corned beef sandwiches.
Molly Weasley accidentally adopts another Weasley.
Ooh, but that does
You're
get-
Harriet Weasley now. No arguments. Oh dear God. If we go, oh man, I'm
Who
so
would have
pissed
sat
that we're.
first with if Harry was a girl? Who would have sat first with Harry on the
I
train?
feel like
Ron or
Ron
Hermione?
Ron would have done it first because Ron specifically went into there because that was the only open spot.
Sure, and his brothers did help Harry
Yeah,
move the trunk, so it's like,
wouldn't surprise me too much. And to be perfectly honest, this gives a lot. I feel like a female version of Harry ironically gives both Ron and Draco Malfoy even more reasons to hate each other.
you know what? I just thought of something else.
The rivalry between those
Oh,
two
yes.
would be
I don't-
titanic.
Neville would have been the chosen one. Hear me out. Hear me out.
We're not. Nope. No.
It's it's a theory.
I get. Okay, if you want to
Just
do
let me
this,
finish
go
it.
ahead.
It's part of it if Harry was female. I know that the whole thing, but like, would Voldemort consider a woman his equal?
Does he seem like he sees gender? He has no interest in sex.
He has a child with Bellatrix.
To be perfectly
Yeah,
honest,
but
they've
from-
gone on the record inside of the series based off of how he was conceived. He has no sense of love. He could still get it to work,
But
but
that doesn't have
mean
anything to do with. You're right, but like, I don't think he would choose her as an equal.
No.
I don't care.
Obviously,
That's my thought process.
No,
I already know why it doesn't work.
I know.
Because of how
not-
I believe how the love protection works. That's why I didn't want to bring this up.
No, that's
because
fair.
I know for a fact we do not agree on how it works,
I'm
and
not-
so when you say it, it's like I get what you're saying. It's an
just-
interesting idea. For the sake of female Harry Potter and stuff, that kind of like
It's
it goes
just for
further
the-
back.
Obviously, yes, it is still the chosen one. I'm just saying that theoretically, if we're going off this whole what if thing, he wouldn't have chosen. I don't think he would have chosen her, because I have a feeling that he would have been a little sexist. Because I mean, when he tells Snape it's just a woman, you could pick any other woman. I don't think he would have picked her. And then, if he had killed Neville, there would be no chosen one. There wouldn't be any story, because Neville wouldn't have had the protection and would have died.
To be
On
perfect,
your theory, so...
to be honest, you say that, but at the same time, if theoretically speaking, if how I'm explaining the spell works, if like we got to go after the option. Does he go for pure blood, or does he go after like a pure-blooded boy, or a half-blooded witch? So if you think about it, which of those two things does he value most in terms of his identity? The half-blood or the male?
The blood status, I feel like.
So, wouldn't he...
Go after the female first.
He would think the pure-blooded witch
He
or
would have killed them
wizard.
both.
He would. Not to say that probably wasn't on his cards. Deal with them both. Just
Yeah,
to be safe.
both of them technically still qualify because gender
think
was
Harry
never
was
revealed
just-
in the prophecy.
I think
that
Harry
means
was just the first option.
If I'm correct on how the protection works, and he goes after Neville first, like your theory, Neville's dead. There is no Neville for the story.
Which is fair.
If
yeah.
how you believe the magic stuff works and stuff along those lines, Neville survives, becomes the chosen one. Harriet Potter gets to keep her parents, with the possibility that she ends up having the parents that get sent to St. Mungo's. So basically, female Harry, Neville and Harry potentially swap, or
There is
Neville
no swap.
dies and
there is no-
Harry Potter's still the
would
chosen.
then again be raised by Sirius Black.
Or still have James and Lily.
Yeah.
Well,
Either James and
and
like
St. Mungo's.
okay.
What you said.
It's
potential.
difficult to tell how that would work out and everything because on the one hand I'm not 100 I don't feel
This what if has spiraled too many other what ifs.
there's yeah.
This is why the Time Authority agency in the Marvel Universe prune the branches.
Yep.
To be perfectly honest though, it does raise some questions. But since I want to stick with female Harry, we're gonna go off for the Harry. If you want to switch
So we
that
don't
over to
fall
wild
on a
card,
tangent. We'll just stay with the fact that Harry.
it's just a gender swap of the actual story
Right, I
starting
know.
point.
I know. So we don't fall off into more tangents. I won't spiral into.
If we want
other
to,
things
in
that
the
it could
wild
change.
card, we could put Neville as chosen one down at the
Oh
bottom.
yeah, I wasn't even
Yeah.
trying to go there for the wild card. I'm just
No.
saying, like thinking about him. Like I think Voldemort would have been sexist enough to not pick Harriet as the chosen one first.
To which, yeah, to be perfectly honest though, Brandy did see it we got enough people with enough spread and everything that you could go in multiple different directions. Harry being born female really spreads it out. But here's the $1 million question stuff. When Harry was when the prophecy was made, were both of the kids already born? I don't know the exact timetable because
For when the prophecy was made?
yes.
I think
So I actually looked up the prophecy because I was curious. It says, "The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches, born to those who have thrice defied him. Born as the 7th month dies, and the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal, but he will have power the Dark Lord knows not, and either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord will be born as the 7th month dies." So I don't think... When she made the prophecy, it was
they were
earlier
already
in the
born.
year. No, they were both...
Oh.
Alice and Lily were pregnant at that
Oh, okay.
time, I think, because it sounds like it was early in 1980, and it says they refer to a boy born in end of July.
Obviously, it would refer to
So-
a child.
Yeah.
Because
A boy
to be
born
vague
in
enough.
July. So the wording of the prophecy, if
we're tweaking tweaking it from he to a child.
probably.
They.
yeah, so yeah, it would have been child.
For the sake of the prophecy.
Yes,
And
for to
then-
have Harry be the chosen one.
So that means that both families were probably in hiding for the course entire year. Oh, I can understand why James was going freaking stir crazy. But
Yeah,
So-
you've defied the Dark Lord 3 times. You have your wife in the last trimester and a half of pregnancy going hormonal as shit.
There's a war going on.
You've got a war going on, and then, the baby's born, and you have the first year of that child's life.
cooped up inside of
Cooped
a
up
house.
in the house, and having had 2 children going through the first year of life, that's a lot. And if you can't walk away because you risk your life, no wonder he was going stir crazy.
Yeah. So, moving on with the rest of finishing this up.
Let's
Snape.
go. The Snape is really the big change for book 1.
Because he'd be nice to her.
If
If she had the red hair, if she just was a girl and didn't look like her mom, then whatever.
I feel
this is the
I don't
$1 million
think he would
question. This is funny to me though, because if we give the male James's personality, she becomes exactly what Snape claims Harry is.
So here's the thing.
Could you imagine her just strutting around Hogwarts, basically?
And Snape's conflicted emotions being like,
looks just like her,
Really?
but she
No.
acts just like him. Oh God!
like,
What a
Snape
moral!
would never look her in the eyes.
Because he'd be afraid he would see Lily's ghost.
He'd see,
Oh.
because theoretically, he would look like his mom, but have James's eyes. If we're flipping it.
God.
Oh, that's right.
So he would never look Harriet in the eyes.
Oh God!
Ever.
Oh God!
Actually, she would probably have a flower name.
Okay.
Rose.
Probably.
Or Daisy. Sorry, it was the first one I came up with.
Of course, Rose would be the first name you come to
Because we keep
mind.
referring to a female Harriet as Harriet, but like realistically, based on the family, probably would have had a flower name because Lily, Petunia,
God.
Holly, I think was.
Oh,
or
Rose
whatever.
Potter sounds like a job more than a name.
We have to look into. Well,
Rose.
I was
Hazel.
going.
Isn't Hazel a
Or
plant?
Hazel. Is that
It's not a flower,
Dudley's kid's name? Whatever Dudley's kid's name is.
but Hazel. That would probably work
Oh
because.
Jesus! What in the world was that?
But anyways,
I
So, if we want to put it in stone,
Holly Potter.
Holly would work. Do we want to go with Holly instead of Hazel?
Well, Hazel was Dudley's kid's name, we think, right?
I don't know.
I think
Well,
that's why
you know
brought
what?
it up.
Holly sounds
Holly or
better.
Hazel?
I'll go with Holly. Holly
Harry?
Potter for a female. I put down with like my red hair James personality for with. Overall, she might be more of a hellion than Harry ever was. Basically, in terms of school, she'd be just as willing to bust out the dragon. I don't really feel like outside of Snape having to really, really figure out his emotional state of being at this point in time.
But here is the thing: I don't think she would be. If we leave the Dursleys as is,
Yes.
I don't think she would still be as bad as James because she would have been.
Because
James
James was a miracle child according to the story and stuff because his parents had him late. So that means that James got like treated and pampered and everything, and that's part of the reason he had such a big head is
Right.
because he got everything he
So
wanted.
she'd like to do like cause mischief, but not like.
Oh,
but
she'd
here's
be
the thing.
like.
I think
she
Petunia would have been nicer to a female Harry.
You think so? Oh, you know
'Cause
what?
it would've looked like
Because
sister.
well, there might
Especially
be
if she looked like Lily.
there'd probably be less tension because I always struck up the fact that Dursleys had a problem with Harry is because
He looked
Harry
like James.
was well, not that. I always struck it up as that Harry was more of what Vernon considered what a man should act like more than his own son. But he couldn't acknowledge that, and so he was probably much meaner to Harry than he probably necessarily needed to be.
Granted, she still probably would have had to do all the housework, but I think Petunia would have bonded better with her. Because looks like her sister, but also like it's a girl. She can't just give her Dudley's hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she would have had her own room. She still probably would have done all the chores and things. I just think that it would have been a little bit better.
You think so?
If the
I think
Dursleys
so.
were the
All right.
same. As for going back to the name, I was looking up why Harry was named Harry to see if like she had come up with some
I
sort
thought
of
it
like
was his grandfather.
not
Or
that I saw, but it
great-grandfather.
says Harry is J.K. Rowling's favorite boy named. The name Harry is Anglo-Saxon origin and means power, and it was like something about a king, or it was like a popular name for a king. So I feel like, based on the author, I feel like if it was a girl, she probably would have named her Catherine or Anne, because those are like the big empresses and queens of history.
Elizabeth?
Or Elizabeth, maybe. Or like the power. Oh, sorry, Katie. Like the powerful ones. Was trying to see like what the Potters, if they had a naming convention. We knew the Evanses had.
He did have a relative named Henry Harry Potter.
I was going with Harriet because that's a common name in fan fictions and stuff whenever
That's
they want
fair.
to change the gender and everything. I remember the Holly one as something I thought in my mind fitting a little bit better than Harriet, because Harriet just sounds too much like Harry. I know Harriet is a female name and everything and would technically work, but you know. I feel like she would probably not be nearly as bad as James. Probably still have that strong sense of justice that both her parents have a strong sense of justice. And the Potter family line is also pretty notorious as people who will stick their noses in other people's business when they're doing something screwy and wrong. That's part of the reason
helping out Sirius.
That's part of the reason they're not on the Sacred 28. Is because somebody said the Potter name sounded too much like a Muggle name and everything, and part of it was because the Potter line has always been very friendly towards Muggle-born individuals and stuff along those lines.
Enough.
They're like the opposite of the Malfoys, historically speaking.
Fair
So I'm getting we still got the strong sense of justice, we got the strong personality. Probably a slightly easier home life with the Dursleys. Petunia's probably a lot more nicer and not nearly as bad of clothes. Just because of the nature of, like, hand-me-downs don't work too well.
It wouldn't look proper for a girl to be wearing boys' clothes.
Yeah.
Especially not baggy boys' clothes.
No.
That stops being like, oh, we're, you know, no, that would look...
Dudley probably wouldn't have beat her up as much.
I feel like that would have been
It
frowned
would have
on
been
in
wrong to
schools.
hit a girl.
Like, yeah, definitely nicer in that department, but I still feel like he'd pick on
He
her to
probably
some
would
degree.
pick on her.
Oh, yeah,
chase her.
absolutely. When she'd still have to do all the cooking, or, well, start doing cooking and cleaning and laundry, but yeah.
This is not book one relevant, but I could totally see her showing up at the Weasleys and stuff and offering to help cook and clean and stuff along those lines. And
Molly
just being like, no.
Go on,
get out,
go
get out.
enjoy your childhood.
Go play in a sense. But I could see that being something that probably ends up happening if like she ends up popping back up at the Weasley home later on, of like eventually pushing her way into the kitchen to some
would
degree.
she have been a lot closer to Hermione than Ron?
No, I don't think so. I feel like if she takes more up after her dad, she's going to get along even more with Ron.
Huh, best buds with the Weasley twins.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
God.
Hell yes.
Oh, no. Oh, I could
Oh my gosh,
I
she
could
would've
see
shared
I
the
could see the
invisibility cloak with
Weasleys
them.
being up to something, and she's just sort of like, bet, I'm in.
She would have been like, twins, I got an invisibility cloak for Christmas.
Oh, no.
And they'd be like, we've got this fancy map, and you've got a cloak? Let's do this!
Like,
We're on the school, bitches!
thinking ahead, like, Harry, like, slyly gave the Weasley twins the money from the Quidditch tournament, like, the Triwizard tournament.
Invested in
He
the
would've
business
been like,
from day one.
Harry would have been like, nope.
Hey, let's go! We got a business!
Straight up. I got money in the bank. I just got a bunch more money. Let's go. Put my name on there.
Oh,
I will
God.
openly
Oh, man.
support.
Like, it's one of those things where it's just sort of like like if she takes up more after James and stuff, she's gonna have some confidence. She's like, it would have probably not be as strong as his, because I still feel like the Dursleys would have beaten it down a little bit, but I seriously doubt that James Potter's personality and stuff along those lines being stronger and stuff is gonna be like, yeah. She's showing up there, she's gonna be like, you're not Snape, what the fuck?
How many times would Snape have to be like, 5 points to Gryffindor? Gryffindor. Because he wants to give her points.
dealing with like this ghost of Lily in this situation would just be a emotional freaking nightmare for Snape, to be perfectly honest. Overall, I do feel like
Obviously,
Holly
we're trying to
Potter's.
avoid the whole gross aspect of it.
Well, I doubt. No, he's not. No, if I feel like he's a horrible person, but I do believe that's a line he would not fucking
I
cross.
agree. I'm just saying that, like, we're just avoiding the whole... Because there's a lot of in the fandom discourse about, like, how gross it would end up being. I'm like, yeah, but we're gonna ignore that. We're pushing it in the trash can. Shoving it all the way down to the bottom.
I've got enough problems with that. We're not no.
But anyway, we should probably move on to some of our other...
Yeah, I heard that too.
I'm gonna go check on our children.
Okay.
Please continue without me, and I'll pick up in a minute.
Alright, so do we want to switch over a little bit while we've got the chance for Harry is still a boy, but looks like has the auburn hair and stuff along those lines?
Well, I think we kind of went through some of that. You still have that whole, you must be a Weasley interaction from Draco to begin with.
Yeah, so we might have a slight change in that department.
I don't think Snape would have changed his feelings much. He'd be like red hair, but also he could just be like, think of a Weasley, and then still hate him.
Yeah, I feel like the grand scheme of things, it's an interesting idea, but not nearly as much to really pick on the bone for that one, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and it's like, Draco would make a lot more, Weasley's adopted you, Potter, eh?
One of them. But I do feel like...
One of us.
With everything going on and everything, Neville, like, still gets his, like, standing up and stuff along those lines. If Ron and Holly aren't endgame, basically, in terms of overarching romance and stuff, we could probably make a pretty good argument for her ending up with Draco in some weird way.
I would think that Draco would have had a better redemption arc and would have become a good guy.
He would have been more like Snape than ever in terms of that.
But Holly would have, I think, liked him back. I don't think Holly would have ended up with Ron, because it's just too much...
That's my best friend.
I think Holly would have been like, you and Hermione, yeah.
To be perfectly honest...
He would have been, she would have been Hermione's hype girl. Like,
once they got...
go get him!
Once they became friends and stuff, Hermione basically gets Ron.
Right.
I can agree to that. And we can totally have, like I could easily see, like, them facing off against each other and stuff.
She ends up with Neville. Yeah, I don't see it either. Or she's a lesbian. Still ends up with Ginny.
I mean, we don't get the cursed child, and I'm okay with that.
Not okay with that. The cursed child doesn't need to exist. Anyway, but let's move on to part 2 of our What If segment.
In the Harry raised by... So we've got 4 people. We got 4 people on the actual list currently and stuff, and we've got raised by Hagrid as the first shot and stuff along those lines.
That kid would know Hogwarts inside and out. He'd be probably just as bad as Hagrid, raising animals.
The only serious issue
He would be as bad as the Weasley twins, because he would know everything.
That's true.
Here's my one issue with this idea for Hagrid specifically. The other 3 that we have on the list, I can come up with an in-lore universe as to how this happened. Hagrid raising Harry doesn't have a logical starting point, in my personal opinion. He's too willing to listen to Dumbledore, so he wouldn't go behind Dumbledore's back to pick Harry back up and take him back to his hut.
On the off chance that Hagrid would be like, or Dumbledore would be like, yeah, I think Hagrid will be the best man for this.
I think that's the only way.
If Dumbledore basically looks at this and be like, you know what, if Hagrid raises Harry, he doesn't leave school grounds, more or less. He'll always have the best person I could think of protecting him.
He'll always be here where I can
right. Oh God, every student at school would be like, Harry Potter lives here at Hogwarts.
I could, like...
The worst kept secret.
Yeah.
Yep.
Harry would know Hogwarts like the back of his hand. First book, basically, he's going to be well aware of who he is, though. Him being famous is sadly going to be something we're going to have to figure out how that works.
He wouldn't be surprised by it.
No.
For sure.
But I feel like if he spends a lot of time on school grounds, especially if he doesn't interact with other students for like the first so many years and stuff, the rest of the
As much,
teachers
yeah.
would get used to it after a while and would not make a big fuss out of
True.
it. So he'd have the extended family of the Hogwarts staff basically surrounding him more or less.
Which would also happen if our other option is if McGonagall raised Harry.
My thought process is I know that I get the distinct impression McGonagall like teaches and stuff, but I feel like if she had a kid, she would not raise Harry at Hogwarts. We can get into McGonagall after we get through Hagrid.
I feel like
If you guys want to argue back and forth on like McGonagall's parenting stuff,
no,
along
I had
those
a
lines,
thought for Hagrid
but-
actually.
Hagrid, we know for a fact, lives full time basically there.
Yeah, Hogwarts.
I could see him doing like a small addition to his house, and like Harry's got this nice cozy spot and everything, and he gets to hang out with Hagrid on his shoulder, or like I can imagine like one of those strap things where you got the baby hanging off of it. So Hagrid's got baby Harry on there as he's doing his
Baby
job.
Harry? You mean Hagrid's got like 6-year-old, 7-year-old Harry hanging?
He said he used to pick his dad up and put him on the dresser, so I 100% believe
He'd be
11-year-old
carrying Harry around all the time.
Harry wouldn't be getting the piggyback ride. He'd be getting a shoulder ride. 100%.
Oh, definitely. Harry would show up first year knowing his identity, knowing probably a little haughtier and a little more arrogant than any other version of Harry.
I
to be
bet he
perfectly
could already
honest.
do magic.
Wouldn't surprise
Probably.
me in the
I
slightest.
think he probably already know how to fly.
Oh yeah, definitely on a broom because he's got the Quidditch pitch on there.
His ass would not have been in detention. His first year, wandering the halls at night, I feel like whoever caught him would have been like, Harry, what are you doing? Go back to bed. Forgetting that he's a student.
He's a
not
student now, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could easily see Harry getting away with a lot more, being a better student overall in terms of like normal Harry, but not as good as as McGonagall. I feel like McGonagall is we want OP Harry. McGonagall gets to be the parent and stuff. Harry would have so much knowledge and understanding of transfiguration right off the bat.
He'd follow in his dad's footsteps, and she would totally let him be an unlicensed animagus.
Oh, I feel like she'd require it, but she wouldn't force the issue and everything.
She'd be so proud.
Oh yeah, Harry.
Real quick on the Hagrid part, sorry, is that Harry'd be like, I don't need no stinking house. I live in Hagrid's hut. He wouldn't stay in the castle. He'd keep sneaking out to go back to his room at Hagrid's, and that's why he gets caught a lot. It's like they're like, Harry, what are you doing out of bed? I'm going to bed. I'm going to Hagrid. They're like,
Maybe
I'm going home.
I'm going home. They're like, okay, fine. You're not wrong.
can't. Well, knows
Oh, God,
everything
he
about
starts a new house. Hagrid's house.
Hagrid's house.
Hagrid's house, and then it becomes an official house of Hogwarts, the fifth house.
Better flyer.
Better like he's not already amazing.
I feel like he'd be even more contentious with Snape than he is in canon. Like I feel like they would, because not only does Snape have to deal with him at a much earlier point in time and stuff, I feel like this version of Harry would be much more willing to like fight back in a sense, because he wouldn't view Snape as a teacher first. He'd know Snape as the guy who basically messes with his surrogate father on occasion.
Right, or tries to mess with him, like be a dick to him as a child, and he's like, no, fuck you, Snape.
Like, yeah, especially without Dudley around to basically get away with just bullying him constantly. And
But
Snape would have to be a lot more careful about how snippy he is with Harry, especially in the early days.
Right, and plus he would be aware of his fame, but still not be obsessed with it because he's got Hagrid.
I feel like Hagrid would
keep him humble.
Keep him humble. I feel like he'd be a little bit more like full of himself, if for no other reason. He'd be like his first year, he's already so knowledgeable about everything that goes on in Hogwarts.
But he wouldn't be like, my parents were killed by Voldemort. I killed Voldemort. Fuck you.
It'd
He'd
be
just
more of like the first year's like, oh my god, the staircase is moving. He'd be like, yeah.
Yep.
And
he would never be late to any of
He
his
would be
classes.
everybody's friend.
Everyone
would need help from him to get to all their classes.
Yeah, he'd be like the first year
he'd be the
ringleader.
living map.
He would not. The only reason he'd need the Marauders map is to know where people are. He would not need to know where things are.
Yeah.
So definitely better flyer. I feel like there wouldn't be any serious radical changes for book 1. I still feel like he's going to make friends with Ron pretty quickly, especially if Hagrid forces him to actually do the train
he wouldn't
ride
have
for
ridden
the first
the
year.
train.
Well, if he, I feel like there are people who are actually from Scotland. I feel like Seamus was from Scotland and he still had to ride the train. So I feel like that's just tradition. Harry
That
would
would be
have
so
to go
annoying.
all the way down. Like, I feel like
You'd go all the way
But
down
he's
to London
already at Hogwarts.
to catch the train to go.
it's tradition. It's tradition. And
It's stupid
also,
tradition.
it's a cool tradition because Harry gets to ride in the motorbike every year to King's Cross.
Okay, fine.
Motorbike ride to King's Cross. He gets to ride the bike. He gets to make friends with Ron because Hagrid's going to put his stuff inside of the train, probably. God, they'd have to make sure that train's big enough for someone like Hagrid.
Well, wouldn't he just ride the motorbike back to Hogwarts?
Hagrid would ride the bike back to Hogwarts.
Well, to be fair, their trunks aren't usually in the same... Oh, wait, no, they are in the compartment because they put them ahead. They just leave them on the train when they get off.
Yep.
Okay, but anyway, let's move on to McGonagall.
All right. Okay, here's my headcanon for this. She argues against the Dursleys. Dumbledore's like, no, he gotta stay here. McGonagall, disappears, waits till Dumbledore leaves, comes back, is just like, screw that noise. These guys are fucking horrible and everything. I'm gonna raise Harry.
Baby snatcher.
And you think Petunia would care?
She would
Never know.
Well,
she wouldn't. If she ever found out, she would have been like, one less
Dodge the
child
bullet.
I have to raise.
I feel with that type of mentality and everything, she probably has a flu network set up to her an actual private home, basically, and more
Every
or less
night from Hogwarts, she goes home to keep an eye on her kid.
I would imagine she'd probably have to have somebody babysit Harry over the course of the day and everything. And since he's year 1 and everything, no breastfeeding or anything along those lines, so we're good on that department. This is probably going to be the most well-behaved version of Harry. Very polite, very
like
respectful and proper.
Doesn't break a single fucking rule.
She would have
He'd be
snapped that
He'd be the
toddler.
Hermione of the group.
He
would have been.
Harry and Hermione.
Friends with Hermione.
He would have been the Percy of the group.
Oh yeah,
He and Hermione.
Hermione started breaking rules.
Harry and Hermione would probably be best friends in this universe.
Yeah.
I still like the image of McGonagall patrolling the hallways with this little black kitten following her because she had to transfigure Harry into a kitten to walk around with her.
Okay, so do we think he'd be an animagus in year 1?
Hell yeah.
But she's registered.
Yes, but do you think she would teach
She wouldn't
Harry?
be able to stop him for one.
I feel like he would want it really badly, and McGonagall would probably break down towards starting school and everything. Be like, if I do it now over summer before school starts and stuff along those lines, I have the ability. And you'll be there, and I don't have to worry about it.
You'll be registered as soon as you're an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
probably.
Harry is animagus.
Because she is known to break rules when it's needed.
And when she wants to break the rules. When it's involving Quidditch or transfer,
she would be training him during the summer to become this new seeker. She's like, soon as you're gonna be your seeker for me. You're gonna be my seeker.
Harry Potter is.
If he was not in Gryffindor, she'd fucking cry.
Oh god.
She'd disown his ass.
Already flying, and we agree that
She's like, if you don't play for Gryffindor, you don't play at all.
You get in Gryffindor, you don't come home.
He would have so much pressure to be in Gryffindor. It's not even funny. But already, I think
you call her Aunt McGonagall though instead of Mom.
I think so.
I feel like if there's ever
Because
a really touching moment that he'd be like, Mom.
Or actually, he'd probably call her Aunt Minerva. So
Aunt Minnie.
Aunt Minnie. So at school, when he's like, "Wait, Aunt Minnie, Professor
Oh
McGonagall."
god, teacher's pet. Oh, God.
But would we think? Now this brings us back to Hagrid. Now for either of them, if he's at Hogwarts,
he'd be calling all the teachers aunt and uncle.
Yeah, so you would have Aunt Minnie.
I feel like Dumbledore would have figured out real freaking quick that Minnie's got Harry. I feel like
she
if
wouldn't
enough
let him go.
Yeah,
She'd be like, "You'll have You'll
Cold-
have to bring the whole
cold-
Ministry of Magic.
Cold dead hands, Dumbledore.
And
I
I
can be
can
like-
take a spell. Or 8.
And she was younger then, too.
Oh,
But also,
God.
she'd be like,
I feel like after a point,
Ministry of
Dumbledore
Magic.
just give up.
And I'm pretty sure you didn't tell them where he was to begin with. You just said he was alive and safe.
Which he is.
I
so.
feel like if she kept it a secret long enough for the spell thing to not work, problem with both Hagrid and McGonagall, he does not have the protection. With any of the what ifs and stuff, he does not have the protection. But that potentially
McGonagall
means
raising
that
him.
if he dies before a certain, like, he doesn't have the ability to harm Quirrell at the end of book 1. I forgot about that, dude. How do we figure out a way for Harry to survive his interactions with
Dumbledore
Ron?
never would have let Quirrell get the stone. Or
He
he
would've-
would have been there ready to burst in the minute things went south.
You think that?
Or-
you think Hagrid? Like, you think
You think
Dumbledore?
Dumbledore would have been waiting in the wings?
Okay.
Or, alternatively,
Mental thought process is Dumbledore does not go to the Ministry knowing full well that protection is not in place.
Or I was thinking that if Dumbledore knows 100% that Harry does not have that love protection by living at the Dursleys, then he would have been straight up with Minerva from the day he figured all that out. Been like, listen, he's not at the Dursleys. He doesn't have Lily's love protection. We gotta train this boy to fight.
right. Alternatively,
I feel like he would
I
have
feel like this is for both Hagrid and all of them. Is Dumbledore is probably much more hands-on with.
Yeah.
Alternatively, they probably would have just changed how the magic worked and still let it be in place.
But then that's changing the whole story. If we're going with the flow of like
No, I just mean like he still gets the protect. I'm just saying if these were like canon, it was written this way. The protection of the blood would still be in place because she's still sacrificed. It's just not only kept active by living with family.
That always didn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
But
I think it.
more than your blood.
I think it's specifically to explain why Harry's living with the Dursleys. It is a plot-induced excuse for that to happen.
Yeah.
Because magic works as the author wants it to. In order for certain elements of the series to work, he needs to be part of the Muggle world to a certain degree, and it's got to kind of be something you want to get away from.
Not specifically the Muggle world, but specifically part of his family.
Yeah.
Because if he had living blood relatives...
Oh,
no, because it had to be his mom's blood. Never mind.
Yeah, so unless Harry would need a uncle or an aunt through mom, so somebody other than Petunia, or her parents need to be alive, which they were killed off for something. I think dragonpox is what James's parents ended up getting. I can't remember what.
Oh, their names were awful. It was like Philema and Euphemia or something.
You know what? You don't have to have a nice name in order to be a nice parent.
So they probably would have named her Holly or Hazel or some sort of flower after Lily's family. But digressing.
But either way, I think if he was raised by somebody else, that they would have just changed the way the magic works, so it's not gonna. So Dumbledore wouldn't have been as like adamant he stay with somebody else. But obviously, if the magic worked the same way, then he would have fought them more.
Do we want to give McGonagall Harry a specific animagus form? What do you think he would be in? What do you think? Do you think he'd take up after his dad is still in this case and be a stag again? Like
so boring. I think he'd be a cat.
I know, but if he was a little baby deer and everything, he could be Bambi to the doe and the stag and everything from Bambi.
That's true.
So it's adorable. Other idea is snake Parselmouth impacts it and stuff. He can turn into a snake.
I don't like that.
No.
But I get it.
You
but
hate snakes, but that's fair. All right, so what animal do
I
you
don't hate
think?
snakes.
I was talking to my wife.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't like snakes.
A fox.
A fox?
A fox.
All right.
An animagus becomes the animal that best suits their personality.
Harry likes flying. I am very tempted to give him an owl form.
Or a hawk.
Hawk would work too. I feel wings would be an appropriate thing for him, especially with how I would be very shocked if he is not some sort of flying creature. And I do feel I associate owls with the series as a whole already.
A raven, maybe? If he lives with McGonagall? because they're the sign of
I
wisdom.
feel like Raised by McGonagall has a pretty strong possibility of ending up in Ravenclaw just because of how she is, but he chooses to be in Gryffindor because that's where he belongs. Damn it, because that's the way.
I
Harry
gotta
is.
see my mom on a daily basis. Fuck you.
So we got Fox, we have Raven, we have Owl. Any other possible like ideas for the Animagus form or anything? I also feel Dog would work for him as well because loyalty is like his big thing in the actual series.
True.
You know, as much as we like be like, oh yeah, that's
Cocker
James's
Spaniel.
son and everything. That guy is every bit ride or die.
Yeah.
You lock Harry in for a friend, you got a friend for life, even if you don't necessarily see him every day.
See?
Aww.
She was grooming him. She was licking
Our
Conchi's
pets,
ear and then headbutting him.
our cat and dog are being very sweet while we're on here on the ground.
Too bad we didn't have a hammer for that. That would have been adorable.
Should have gotten
So-
a picture.
Anything? Anybody feeling a pull towards anything specific?
Not really.
Because
Would
here's
we
the
think
thing,
Harry
though.
would still have the same like trouble-seeking, quote
He's
behavior,
never. He was
or
never.
the investigative?
He's got his pride. That's what gets him
I
into
think a
trouble
dog.
with Malfoy. He's
A
got like
lion.
an actual lion. Oh god.
Why not?
I feel honestly when you mentioned Hawk, I feel like that would fit really well with him because one, wings, and he loves being in the air. Two, he's got a bit of a pride streak and everything because Malfoy does drag him out to that duel and everything. And I feel like that's the only occasion he willingly breaks the rules without a good reason for it. Every other time he breaks the rules, it's because of some greater good, whether it's helping out a friend or trying to find out information. He never like goes out with the intent of like causing too much mischief to be a problem. It's either exploration, helping somebody, or somebody impacts his pride in some way, shape, or form. He is sassy as he's willing to dish back at other people dish at him. I feel Falcon's probably our best go-to in terms of what
Falcon,
anime.
hawk, or eagle, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Birds of prey.
I feel like the hawk would be cool, but I feel like the raven though because ravens hold grudges.
They hold grudges. They're very inquisitive.
very very smart.
So we're going with Bird, Raven.
Raven.
All right, so Raven it is. Raven. So if we're going off of this, he no-sells a lot of the things that get in his way in the first year. Dropping down does not become an issue. He just turns into a bird, just flies down, so the Devil's Snare doesn't get him. It still hurts the other one, so he and Hermione probably are off to the side. Ron's the only one that really has to deal with it. And rather than Hermione getting her moment of like light and stuff along those lines, Harry's going to probably take one look at the situation and be like, light. So he basically gets them out and everything. He still needs... He also gets the key automatically. He doesn't even need to get on the broom.
Would he be better at chess than Ron? I think he'd
I
be
don't
better
think he
at chess than Ron.
I don't think so. I want Ron to keep his
Moment
ability.
of
It's
glory.
not-
Because he beats
Yeah.
Hermione. And Hermione's arguably the smartest witch of her age. So even if Harry's more well studious and stuff, I still feel Ron takes it.
I feel like wizarding chess isn't, from what I understand, that much different than real chess. It's just magical. So I feel like you're either good at chess or you're amateur. And if Harry comes across as amateur,
That's fair.
Yeah, so Ron still gets this moment to shine. Hermione and Harry probably are capable of both doing the potion thing, but I feel like Hermione, he'd probably put more trust in Hermione. So basically, he gets to the final point and stuff along those lines, and is probably able to defend himself with magic rather than using the hand thing.
and he would be able to turn into a raven and fly around.
Oh
and be like,
yeah, he's not like as soon as he gets that fucking thing and stuff along those lines. Dumbledore shows up. Harry's not knocked unconscious. Dumbledore shows up, sees Quirrell trying to catch a bird that he's having a hard time getting a hold of, basically. Blasting spells also over the place. Dumbledore basically drops his ass. Voldemort flees. Quirrell dies. Harry's now capable of seeing the Thestrals. Harry sees I feel like for each of these, Harry sees the death of Quirrell. because Harry isn't getting knocked unconscious by the pain of the contact.
Yeah.
Fair.
Harry sees Thestrals from now on.
I feel like
Quirrell maybe wouldn't have, depending on how long Quirrell was a teacher at Hogwarts, he might not have ever succumbed to Voldemort. Because Harry would have been like a nephew to him.
Do we just bypass all of
We
book
just
one?
bypassed book one!
So
Do
then
we-
what happens then?
I don't know!
Because I was just thinking, like, I feel like if
He
Harry
has a normal year at Hogwarts?
I feel like I was thinking that if Harry's an animagus with McGonagall, the get through to the trap, like the final end, he gets the stone in his pocket, and I feel like he would have had that smarter realization of, bird, go, and then just immediately flies around like, come get me, or flies over the fire and gets out.
Right.
But
Also,
yeah.
like, did we just totally bypass book one because Quirrell would have been like his uncle and be like, what? No, I'm not gonna go fucking kill my nephew. Fuck you.
I feel like
They would have had
Quirrell
a new
already.
day.
I feel like Quirrell would already have the weakness of character regardless of Harry being around. I like the idea. It's really funny, don't get me wrong.
No,
And I have
yeah,
no
but,
problems retouching base on
It's
this.
just a what if.
But if that actually happens, we potentially bypass, for Hagrid and McGonagall, all of book one. But does Dumbledore still go through the process of having the stone in there? Do they still have their mystery of finding out what is actually protecting the stone and everything? It just sits in Hogwarts far longer. Or does Dumbledore automatically know, like, Voldemort's still trapped in Romania or wherever the hell he actually is? I can't remember. I think it was Romanian Woods. And he's just sitting there and everything, and Dumbledore's like, you know what, screw it. Harry gets a nice, clean first year. And if that's the case, we get around the protection spell entirely.
Yeah.
Because the protection spell itself doesn't start up in... only is a book 1 and book 4 thing. And in book 4, Voldemort
negate
has a
it.
way around it.
Yep.
So theoretically speaking, if anybody's you know, he doesn't have the protection, but he also doesn't necessarily need it anymore.
No, Dumbledore wouldn't have known about the protection. So he wouldn't have been as obsessed about getting Harry's blood.
Well, no, he still would have been obsessed because he
A
would have
little bit.
wanted his greatest enemy, and he was the one who defeated him when he was a kid. He's very
He would only
particular
want a
about.
worthy wizard's blood.
Yeah,
But he
he'd
wouldn't
want
be,
Harry
like-
specifically.
But, like-
he wouldn't need it for the protection thing. He'd want it because it was Harry, not because
Spite.
of getting spite.
But he could have wanted
Voldemort's a
Dumbledore's blood instead.
But that'd be harder. Getting Dumbledore, especially during book 4.
Moody
not
just
happening.
handshake, prick him with a... Barty
No.
pricks him with a needle and
The
be like,
ritual
"Good."
was bone of father given unknowingly, flesh of the servant willingly given, blood of the enemy forcefully taken.
Forcefully taken, scratches you and takes
But
your
if
blood.
if he takes it from Dumbledore while he's unknowingly,
That's
it doesn't
unwilling.
qualify.
That's fair.
He needs to. They need
It
to
needs to be in
let
combat.
him. Yes, it needs to be some sort of. We are doing this to cause harm, and you know exactly why we're doing it. And why, like, yeah, Harry still makes the most of it. So we potentially bypass book 1 for Hagrid and McGonagall because he's gonna pick up on Quirrell's sudden change of personality a hell of a lot more. Might be more suspicious of him, or Quirrell is won over by Harry being around the school during that time period when he's being the Muggle studies professor and just doesn't buy what Voldemort's saying. Because, you know, it's one thing to hear stories about a baby beating Voldemort. It's quite another when that child that defeated Voldemort is walking around the place you work on a regular basis.
Right. And
you're
So,
like, oh, Harry's...
Quirrell is potentially not only alive, but a good person.
I was looking this up, and this probably will come into play more in book 4 when we circle back to these. It says the potion for the resurrection of Voldemort said bone unknowingly taken from the father, flesh willingly sacrificed from the servant, and blood forcibly extracted from one of his foes, though it would appear that the blood had to be freshly taken from the source. So Barty Crouch Jr. wouldn't have been able to, like, scratch Dumbledore, even if they were able to finagle around it, because the blood wouldn't have been fresh by the time he got to the potion.
Yeah,
So
'cause
Harry
he
had to...
can't apparate out of Hogwarts grounds.
Yeah. That's why they had to have Harry at the graveyard.
Yeah. But also could have just used an any wizard.
Pretty much. So we potentially have a bypass of book 1. So, sort like, you know, there's a the stones in there, and maybe at the end of the year when Dumbledore kind of finds out that Voldemort doesn't actually show up to try and get it or anything along those lines, they just destroy it at the end of the school year after a while, and like Dumbledore's just sort of like, well, that's a bit of a wash, but I've been hanging out with the kid. If I don't know what the personality and what his mindset is after like being around the kid for a good freaking like 9 decades at this point in time, something's wrong with me. All right, on to non-T-shirt characters. Sirius Black. Okay, so this what if story
It's got
is
2 possibilities.
Sirius Black gets that bad feeling earlier, shows up at the house before Hagrid does, and finds his godson in the wreckage. He has Harry in hand. He walks out, gets confronted by Hagrid, and Sirius Black is like, no, you are not taking my godson from me. You want him? It's gonna be a fight.
He's your godson? Okay.
You want him? It's gonna be a fight. And Hagrid's not picking. Hagrid's not picking a fight.
It puts Harry in danger.
Yeah. So I'm thinking first thing that's going to happen
Hagrid's also
under this
a
circumstance
lover, not a fighter.
is, and he's not. They're on the same team at this point in time, and there's no perspective change. That means he goes home. That means Peter is still out and about and everything, and there's still a lot of chaos. So the question is, at this point in time,
what does Peter do?
Does Peter try to goad Sirius Black into trying to kill him in order to but that doesn't work because Peter would have to hunt Black down to try and force it at that point.
Plus,
And if Harry is there under the protection with Sirius, nobody's going to think he's a traitor.
I don't think...
Because he would have had the possibility to kill Harry every single second he's with Harry.
He would have been like, no, listen, you
can't throw this man
Here's my memories. Here's my memories. And nobody would attack him because he's got Harry in hand. He's like, here's my memories. You can see that I'm innocent. Peter's the one you want.
So he could show them, here, I told James I don't feel as confident in myself and to change the secret
because his whole goal would be Harry's safety. So anybody who tried to come after him.
I feel like Sirius would have thrown his wand down and be like, take my memories. I told James I don't feel comfortable being the secret keeper.
Peter is now on the run. Peter is now a wanted criminal at this point in time.
So he would still go into hiding as a rat.
Yes. But the thing is, though, is that Sirius Black seems like the type of person to be like, you know what? Screw it. He registers himself as an animagus and says Peter is also one and he is a rat. So not even he has to be extra freaking careful now. I wonder if this means Voldemort starts coming back even earlier. Because... Remus wouldn't make that move to basically say my friends are animagus. So if Remus is the one who raises Harry and still believes Sirius Black betrayed them and everything, it still kind of sets itself up. But in this circumstance right now, Sirius Black, does he make the play?
I don't think
and reveal out and registers himself to get around the law and then outs Peter, or does he keep his mouth shut and to intentionally try and hunt Peter down in his spare time?
I don't think Voldemort would have come back sooner because Peter still would have he would have spent too much time hiding first, and his
self-preservation. Yeah,
because and Voldemort didn't have enough strength at the time. Because why wouldn't Voldemort have made a move sooner? His first move was with Quirrell because he finally had enough strength and found a candidate he could use.
Don't sleep on Peter. Though.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just saying, I don't think Voldemort was strong enough.
We think Peter probably hightails it out of maybe magical Britain entirely, basically.
Probably.
So he just bails.
Other Death Eaters would have been looking for him for a while too.
Oh yeah, and especially once if he's the person who set everything up and stuff along those lines, there was some concerns that he betrayed.
Ooh, because think about. If Sirius outed him, think about all the Death Eaters who didn't get persecuted. The Malfoys, for example, they would have hunted down Peter as well because they would have figured he was a traitor.
Yeah. So the $1 million, so we start off.
I feel like
the Lestranges would have tried to kill him.
I feel like if Sirius took charge of Harry and actually stepped into the Godfather role. I feel like what we saw of Sirius in book 3 tells me that if he had Harry in hand, he would lay down everything and do whatever was needed to make sure Harry was protected. So yeah, I think Sirius would register. I think he would out Peter as an animagus.
Right.
James is dead.
Now-
Can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Now, there's a split side to this. There's also the theory of whether it's Wolfstar, which is the
Oh, Remus and
Sirius.
Sirius are now best friends. Whichever, like, yeah.
whether they're dating or they're
Just
really
co-parenting.
co-parenting. The other alternative is that Sirius takes Harry, gets into Remus, then goes after Peter himself, landing him in jail.
But he's not staying in jail because as soon as Remus has Harry in hand,
He would have.
Remus would have basically been like, dude, if he was a traitor, if he was actually he was the spy, the boy would be dead. Period. End of story. And that is the most biggest proof ever that he is not a traitor. Because nobody in their right mind.
True, but Sirius would have been willing to do the time because he still felt guilty about.
But here's the
James's
thing.
death.
But I
He
feel like
didn't go after Peter until after Hagrid said no to giving him Harry. Because
True.
Hagrid got the bike. My
just
thought
saying,
process
theoretically, he could have ended up in Azkaban instead.
he could have.
But I feel like
it's
he would've-
always a possibility.
I feel like he would have animagused out first.
If he thinks he's the only person that can take care of Harry in that moment in time, he's doing everything he can to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's but there's the theory of he got there first, got Harry to Remus. But you're right. It is likely he wouldn't have ended up in Azkaban, even if he went to hunt down Peter.
It would have delayed him. And the thing is, though, is he got no trial. He gets a trial because there's at least one person out there that knows the truth. 2, Hagrid and Remus know for a fact he had Harry, and if he was a traitor, he would have killed Harry. And that's the thing. He's got people on the outside. There would be problems.
But alternatively, they could have, if Remus hadn't known yet, he could have thought that Sirius was trying to hide Harry until he could take him to raise him as a new Dark Lord or something.
Yeah, but you have to make some freaking logic leaps.
I feel like
And if you are best, like,
I'm just saying it's a what if.
I feel like if
you're not
Sirius
wrong
got
though.
Harry,
There are fan theories that the reason the Malfoys were making friends and wanted to be friends was because he could have possibly been a more powerful Dark Lord. You're not outside of the realm of possibility. I'll give you that.
Well, Dumbledore would have maybe tried to just keep Sirius out of the picture still.
That really goes to show, like,
but then
whether
couldn't get him from Remus or something. I don't know.
I feel like if Sirius had gotten
I don't feel
custody of Harry and then taken him to Remus,
I might have to take Remus off of the raising thing.
Unless
can
he's
continue.
raising him with Sirius.
Yeah, I feel like
Because Remus wouldn't feel like Remus being a werewolf and everything. I'm cutting
Yeah,
Remus
you're right.
off the parent thing.
the
He would
solo
not.
parenting.
Yeah,
no,
there's
and
no
then
way.
that would be even more reason for Sirius to want to get out of
But if
Azkaban.
Sirius was raising Harry, Remus would be there every single day. They'd be co-parenting.
But
Yeah.
I 100% believe Sirius would have to tell Remus
He'd
why
have to
he's
explain
going
it.
up.
He'd have to
Because
explain
imagine this
why
all
he's got Harry to
This
begin
all
with.
happened in the middle of the night. Remus is
True.
gonna be like, "Why are you banging on my door
Why
at
do you have
midnight
Harry?
with our nephew?"
With our
Lily and
nephew.
Where
James
are
were
Lily
what
and-
with your
happened.
God with
And
Lily
he'd have
and
to explain,
James.
I wasn't the secret keeper. Peter betrayed them.
And Peter got them killed.
And
I'm
Remus would
going
be
after
like,
Peter.
why the fuck did you tell me he wasn't the secret
Oh, I
keeper?
kind of thought you were the traitor. Well, to be fair, I kind of thought you were the traitor. Fair. We go kill him together? Yes. Here,
Or-
set the baby down. They both go and kill Peter.
And they get to kill Peter because Sirius distracts him and Remus kills him from behind.
And they don't blow up muggles.
So we have Remus is
And they don't go to jail for
co-parenting.
the murder because he was a Death Eater.
Peter is on the run or dead. Peter is
Muggles
on the run
survived.
or dead. Lupin snipes.
Okay, so
Muggles
moving on,
survived.
I think he'd still be an animagus by year 1.
I feel like
they would have trained him to be an animagus.
Fuck yeah.
Oh.
Who's gonna go with
Sirius is going to teach him all of the fun spells. Thank you very much. And,
Snape would hate Harry so much.
oh God!
more.
Absolutely.
Oh,
There would
most.
be no first year
most-
saving grace.
Harry is James in this story.
Whoa.
Harry-
Harry and the cat, and I'm gonna be in a danger zone.
Harry is James in this series, basically. Harry is his father's son. Full fucking stop.
Oh my God, he'd teach Harry how to ride a motorcycle at age like 6.
Heck
Oh
yes.
my God, Harry would spend so much time on that bike.
He'd still be an amazing Quidditch player.
Oh, easily.
You would be showing Malfoy up.
Oh, dude, he'd be
Harry
richer than Malfoy.
I think Harry would have been a little bit nicer to Hermione year 1 to start with, because Hermione is a lot like Lupin.
Yeah.
Your baby Lupin. What? What are you talking about?
What the hell?
Okay, you are my.
Maybe
Oh, dude,
Remus.
no.
He would have called him Remus.
Harry. Okay. Other thing is, Harry intentionally tries to rebuild the Marauders. Harry intentionally tries to rebuild the Marauders.
Yep. He's like,
Neville
would have been more
No.
included in the group.
or not, because if Peter betrayed them and stuff along those lines,
But
he would
it
be.
doesn't sound like they...
The minute...
From what I'm interpreting of the flashbacks to James and Sirius and Remus, they said Peter was always trailing after them. So it sounds like they had included Peter just because they
It was
felt
hero
bad.
worship.
Yeah.
But he would have included Neville. He would have been like, no, Neville, you my boy.
Marauders 2.0.
He would have made sure that Neville didn't
God.
betray him.
Harry's gonna be a ladies' man in this one.
Hell yeah.
Which means year 4, he's going to have them all asking him to go to the dance.
He already was to begin with, but Harry's gonna be even worse.
He's like, my uncle is the coolest guy ever.
Book 4, Harry knows how to get himself a date.
Yes.
He's not scrambling at the last possible second. He's pulling a Weasley twin, crumpling up a piece of paper, tossing it at the girl he's interested
You,
in.
me,
He would have
Dave.
already known who Draco was.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's gonna know
Because he would have been like, my stupid cousin.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Because he's related to Sirius closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry's gonna be for almost everybody on the list, Harry's gonna be much more knowledgeable about the wizarding world than his base starting point is. Do we change his animagus when he's raised by Sirius? Do you think Sirius would be enough of a personality impact in being raised by Sirius that he would shift?
He would have been a stag. He would have been just like his dad.
I was thinking either that or a fox.
Yeah. Be that mischievous.
He would be a little bit more mischievous.
But
Okay,
more cunning like his mom. And Remus.
You know what? All right. Timmy gets this one.
I get the
Fox
too.
Animagus this time around. They aren't they canine in origin to a degree? Are they canine?
I think they're canid.
Yeah,
They're
canid.
They
So
act
he's
a lot like cats as well.
he's much.
They're
I feel this
borderline.
makes sense.
They're
He's
like
got that.
feminists.
He's got that loyalty edge to him.
They're their
He's-
own.
Harry's still ride or die with his friends, but he's also a hell of a lot more clever. This guy's gonna have the inherited intelligence of his mom. It's gonna be allowed to thrive.
He also would have been fast friends with the Weasley twins again.
Oh god, dude.
He'd be like, you guys are the Marauders 2.0, yeah.
Harry is not like Harry.
He would have learned about the map sooner. He
Oh, yeah.
Been like,
He would have heard
like,
stories.
He would have been like, I need that map. Where's the
Oh,
map?
if the twin.
He would have gotten caught by Filter, tried to break into Filter.
Oh, yeah,
while
this
trying
one-
to find it. And if he got to be good enough friends with the Weasley twins, where they revealed it to him, he's like, dude, my dad and my uncle, my dad's made that.
As soon, like
Yeah, foxes are more.
if
canid.
the Weasley twins ever flash that map at any point in time,
Harry's like, that's mine.
Harry sees it instantly, knows exactly what it is. He's like, that's the Marauders map, and they're like,
that belongs to my
how do you know? And Harry's like, that
You'll
was
immediately
made
like,
by
I
my
solemnly
dad,
swear I'm
my
not up to no
godfather.
good.
He would be able to take he'd take
He
that
would
right
show
out.
them tricks they
He-
didn't know.
He'd be able to snatch that right off of them, basically. Solemnly swear him up to no good. I could see Harry grabbing that out of their hands. The twins
God.
turn
Wait.
to stop him, and he says the word while holding that paper up in front of his hand.
Alternatively, alternatively, Remus and Lupin help him make a second one.
Sirius
And
would
he
Sirius
compares.
would do it as a night project.
Yeah, he would.
Knows the map.
Remus would be like, please don't, Sirius. We got into a lot of trouble.
Sirius would be all for it.
Oh, yeah.
He's toned down. Sirius is going to be more mature, but not that much more mature. You know what I mean?
He'd be like, all right,
He's
got to
be an adult.
Tell you this.
He's got to be an adult in this universe, and he doesn't get 13 years in Azkaban where he stays
Harry
22.
one night runs into the twins while they're going to Honeydukes.
At some point,
They'll be like, wait, how do you know?
We did not see each other. We did not see each other.
Or they don't. Or they both pull out their own copies of a map. They're like,
oh,
Harry would have to. No,
he
Harry
has the
wouldn't
glass.
He wouldn't have the glass.
He has the two-way glass.
But he would have the glass with Sirius.
And he knows how it works, and so he's capable of talking to Sirius for the first year. So that means he probably figures out who Nicholas Flamel is almost off the bat, basically, because he'd be capable of picking the brains of other people. Because Sirius is like, ooh, adventure. Do go on.
I could see him talking into Sirius on the mirror and just being like, yeah, we found this name. We're like, we've combed every book in the library, and Nicholas Flamel, and blah, blah, blah. And Sirius
and
is
then,
like,
no,
hold on. Sirius is like, I know that name. It's on the tip of my tongue, Lupin. And the guy's just flipping through a newspaper.
He wouldn't even
That's so...
Oh, yeah, he would just be
Alchemist?
Like, oh, right!
Alchemist! would be like, duh. And Sirius is like, chocolate frogs!
Oh, man.
Dumbledore's friend!
And then Remus would just, Remus would just be in the background shaking his chocolate. You'd think some of my intelligence would rub off on him after all these years, but no, the chocolate frog is what gets you.
Oh my god. Yeah. Remus and Sirius are basically an old married couple by
Remus
this point in
isn't
time.
the chocolate fiend in their house.
Oh dear god, the house oh man. Harry knows so much about Defense Against the Dark Arts. Harry is so much better at Defense Against the Dark Arts than canon version of him that it's just ridiculous, because that curse existed before either of them went to school. That means their primary concern is not only making sure he's protected, he's got Dumbledore maybe keeping an eye on him, but he's got Remus, the best Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher they had, bar Moody, evil Moody.
Remus's Easter and Christmas gifts
full
would
of
be
chocolate.
Way bigger than Molly's Haul of Food.
Oh my god.
So much.
Harry's going to be spoiled rotten.
But in a good way.
Oh yeah.
He probably wouldn't have gotten a Weasley sweater.
Oh.
Because I think Molly really only made that and gave him a bunch of other things because
Harry was
felt
worried
bad.
wasn't.
I think she still would have, because maybe not the first year.
But maybe
right,
like a few years
books,
later.
Because once Ron starts getting gifts from Remus and Lupin, she'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna give Harry gifts."
Yeah,
Soon as
once Harry and Ron were real good friends, and he spent all summer talking about Harry, she would have been like, "All right, we're making this for a sweater."
Ron would have spent his summer at Harry's instead,
because it would get him away from all of his brothers.
Yes.
If they ever run into each other, that Ron is going to probably be hanging out with Harry before school starts.
Oh yeah, because they could have been friends ahead of time.
Yeah.
Maybe Draco would have been nicer.
I'm writing down a note for book 3 since we said we were going to try to stick to book 1 specifically for our what ifs.
We are. Sorry for everyone listening. This is getting to be a long podcast. I don't have to be anywhere, but.
Do we want to break it and do the wild card ones another time, or do we want to just keep going?
I mean, to be honest,
we could just maybe not go in depth on them.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna. This is the end. We had a lot of fun with Sirius Black.
Raised by Snape? Is that what I was saying?
I may have put an extra one in there for the raised as for Snape.
Snape
if
would
we
never.
go after, this is a what if. In the movie version of the series and stuff, he shows up before anybody else does, and Harry's in the background crying when he's cradling.
He would only raise Harry if it was a girl.
You think so?
Possibly. I don't think he would have bothered raising. I don't think, because he just hated James so much. I don't think he would have raised Harry.
If we're gonna go after that mindset and everything, if this is girl only and looks only like Lily. This is Lily's.
Would have to be Lily's twin.
Yeah, Lily, like, girl only and Lily twin.
Like, sure, maybe he would have raised Harry just so that he wouldn't end up like James, but like,
I feel like
doubt.
he hated James too much to want to.
I guess if Harry was a boy but had the red hair, then maybe also would have raised him, but still.
Snape, in a moment of panic and pure guilt for basically killing off his best friend and only friend, basically picks up Harry and gets out without anybody noticing.
So, because I don't think we're going to talk about this theory for any of the other books, the biggest problem is Dumbledore wouldn't be able to use Snape as a spy when Voldemort came back.
No.
Ooh, yeah.
Because
so
he would have known, because Voldemort would have been like, you saved
why didn't
my
you
enemy.
kill him?
Yeah.
You're going to come back to me even though you've been raising my enemy
I knew
this
you
whole
weren't
time?
dead. I know you weren't dead.
And you didn't kill my enemy this whole time?
You want me to kill him? No, I want to kill him myself.
Yeah, but
I feel like Snape's
He's enough of a slime ball, he probably would have talked his way out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like... Remember, but here's the problem. All of Book 5, when he was still... Or not Book 5. Like, during Book 6, when he was actively... Or all the time he was actively back and forth with Voldemort, he would have had... Voldemort would have forced him to give him Harry.
He would have Imperioused him.
He would have had to do something. So it really wouldn't work with Snape.
It's
changed that far. Yeah.
It does go beyond.
It's an interesting theory. Like, to see what it would have like. Like, I would love to see a what if world of what would have happened, but I think ultimately
This would have to be a universe where Voldemort didn't have Horcruxes, died at that point in the story, and we just continue on with like a slice of life.
Or just Snape wouldn't have been able to be a spy for Voldemort, for
Yeah.
Dumbledore.
Snape doesn't get to be like, obviously we get to year 1 and stuff along those
Which
lines.
means Draco either would have killed Dumbledore or died.
Or Snape still does it.
Well, Snape wouldn't have known as much
Well,
at that point. Because he wouldn't have been a spy
for
for Voldemort.
We're book one. We're already like
Okay. Anyway, wild card.
Yeah.
Harry is a Slytherin.
Different houses. Slytherin's the big one, easy one.
I was reading a short thing about if Harry was in Slytherin. There was this post about how, like, if Harry went to Slytherin, Ron would have joined Slytherin because he's like, but I don't want to leave my new best friend. Maybe what I've heard about Slytherin isn't so bad. If this nice kid that I just met can be in Slytherin, so can I.
Or worse, Ron and Harry, not friends.
Became enemies after. He's like, I can't believe you betrayed me and joined Slytherin. Hermione would have been more open to another house, maybe. Because there's just like this theory about like, oh, she could have ended up in Slytherin too.
Well, I feel like she would have been more.
I wonder if this is like a domino effect. Like, doesn't Hermione get sorted before Harry? Or
Yes.
is Harry? Okay.
Actually, you're right.
So it wouldn't impact her. Harry going into Slytherin and everything definitely makes definitely makes the Ron friendship a little bit harder.
Unless Ron joins Slytherin.
That kind of
Harry has to deal with Draco every single time he goes to bed, so that's also going to be a bit of an issue.
Would he be friends with Draco? Would
I
he
think
be
Draco would
civil?
become nice.
They would
Draco?
be civil. They would have to be civil with each other.
I
Because Slytherin strikes me as one of those houses and stuff where it's like, you are our enemy, but if you're one of us, we protect our own. Regardless of whether or not we like
is my friend.
Yeah.
I think, but here's alternatively, if Ron declared Harry as an enemy for joining Slytherin,
Or at least
Draco would have been really good friends with Harry. Because Draco would have changed his attitude and tried to be cozy up to him.
To a degree. And I feel like even though Harry probably wouldn't like it, he probably realizes, I need somebody.
Because I think Draco would have been a good friend. His problem was just that he had that whole superiority of the blood kind of thing. And I think Harry would have talked him a little bit down off of that.
Like,
but
clearly
still,
I'm a
like,
half-blood in here.
They'd be like, they'd meet in the middle kind of thing.
Or they deal with it like most families deal with their politics when they disagree, and they just don't talk about it. We're classmates. We get along with each other. We don't like. I can see them snipping at each other. I can see some arguments to some degree. They're at least civil to something, because every single time they argue they take points away from Slytherin House, it's not going to be a good look for either of them.
Yeah.
And Slytherin's so competitive, they win every single freaking year, basically.
Would Snape have
Snape
Snape would have to deal with Harry on a daily basis.
Snape has to deal with Harry on a daily basis.
5 points from Slytherin. Ah, God.
Snape has to be nicer. Snape has to be nicer,
nicer,
or else he starts shooting himself in the foot when it comes to
because if he isn't nicer to Harry, then he has to start docking points from all his other Slytherin students as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would have
he-
to treat
he-
Harry the same as all the other Slytherins.
He's got, like, yep, Snape's kind of in a...
Would Harry have
But,
played
freaking-
Quidditch if he was in Slytherin?
I don't think so. I
No,
feel
because
like
nobody would have known that he was immediately good at it. Not until the later years.
he would have been able to play in year
He
2.
wouldn't have stood up to Draco for the Remember All. He would have
Because
just been
yeah,
like, "All right,
like
whatever."
they would have gotten each other's faces and stuff, and I like, even if Harry does it, McGonagall's not giving Snape another.
Yeah.
No.
If that's
Harry
the
had
case,
a
Harry's
secret.
going into detention
Would
for
Draco
flying
have
on the
played
broom.
on the Quidditch team if Harry was on the... Well, they
Yes.
both, but who would have been played Seeker?
Harry's still Seeker. Harry's always been
Draco's
the better
backup
Seeker.
Seeker.
He's Chaser. My thought process is if he can't be the Seeker to be better than Harry,
Yeah, he's too
a
small to be
chaser.
a-
He's a chaser in order to score points.
He's too
And his
small to be
ultimate
a
goal
leader.
is to score more points so that the snitch thing doesn't count as much.
Yeah.
It's like, I look at all the points I scored to Harry.
It's like,
only
we
can
didn't
make
even
150.
need you to win.
Yeah, we could have lost and we still would have won. That
new
makes
Victor
me
Crumb.
better. Yeah. So any I still think Harry probably over, like, depending on like how the classes work and stuff along those lines. Slytherin strikes me as the type with the gossip, so I feel like he'd probably find out about the troll in the dungeon thing. That still happens. On their way down, Harry
Harry's
realized
like, "We're in the
Hermione's in
dungeon!"
trouble. Hermione's in trouble. We need to go save it. And I can see him dragging Draco or going off on his own. One way or the other, Harry and Hermione are friends at the end of it. Whether or not Ron is involved is still up for debate.
Yeah.
Because we could argue both ways. Either Ron's a Slytherin and the story doesn't change, or Ron is not friends with Harry in the slightest and they avoid each other.
Yeah, fair.
I don't feel like anybody else would really be
But it'd be harder for his friend group. I feel like he wouldn't be able to sneak out as easily to meet up with his friends because they don't have the cloak.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's
Unless
true. He'd have to communicate.
He'd have to go up there first, sneak them out.
Yeah.
So they
Which
would
wouldn't be
I think
impossible, because they
alternate
do
universe,
sneak
they'd
out.
all have to be in Slytherin.
Yeah.
Or Draco replaces Hermione and Ron joins Slytherin.
Or, it's Harry, Draco, and Hermione basically as the Silver Trio.
Yeah.
My thought process being, though, is that Harry, I feel like the troll incident still happens. Ron still snipes Hermione, so she's still whether or not Hermione and Ron are actually like friends and stuff. I feel like my mental thought process is that Harry runs off, and Malfoy gets pissed off and doesn't get the chance to go for his friends, and ends up getting dragged into the rescue mission, basically. And he kind of, like, I've put effort into
Draco
saving you,
want...
you're now, like, you owe me, sort of thing. And they're
Yeah.
basically Hermione and Draco Malfoy start actually, like, dealing with each other because
If
they have
Draco
them...
starts to go off about blood purity, Harry'd be like, I'm literally a half-blood, you fucking twat. Deal with it.
I feel like...
He's like, my mom was a Muggle-born. Aw, shit.
I feel like Draco starts to have to really start, like,
If
we know he already kind of becomes a good person. He's not a good
He has
guy.
to, like, reanalyze all the values he's been
and he's
taught
doing it
or
much.
now.
He's doing it much younger at that point in time. This benefits Draco a lot more than it benefits Harry.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, we could possibly see a lot of the major events still happening. Draco basically switching places with Ron. Hermione might need to pull extra weight when it comes to the chess match, because we never find out if Draco's any good chess because he never plays. But it wouldn't, him being from the pure blood family, proper family, it wouldn't shock me if he's actually a good.
Draco would have been smart and be like, I'm going to take the place of the king, because duh.
Yeah. I could see him.
Also,
do we? Do we want to
suffered.
just lock this in? Ron and Harry are not friends. Draco is part of the golden trio.
Sounds good.
Okay, just to add
Probably
some
talk about all
variety.
these other things again later too.
Yeah.
And this also falls under the category of Draco being nicer, so we don't have to go over that point either.
Yeah, so we can fuse that one in there. Draco's nicer in we're Slytherin.
I couldn't think of anything if he was going to be in Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff, honestly.
There
Nah,
isn't any
it's not worth
character.
it.
There's no extra characters to be.
He would have ended up with Cho Chang earlier.
My thought process. Oh, dang it! You spoiled it already. Okay, back to Sirius raises Harry. Harry starts getting all butterflies with Cho during the third year match. He asks her out as his girlfriend third year before Cedric gets a shot.
Probably.
Yep.
And he's a ladies' man. Cho was interested enough to date him later on, so I think that goes off without a hitch. He's dating Cho before the end of book 3.
Here's the scenario. And this is how it would play out. But like, it would be Harry is just cocky enough to pull this off. Harry beats Cho in a match. Go after the match. He's like, Cho, I know I couldn't give you the snitch during the match, but how about now? Will you be my girlfriend? And it would work.
All right, so series goes off. Slytherin wins the House Cup again and everything because Harry gets enough points, or Dumbledore still gives it to... I feel like Dumbledore is going to give it to Harry whatever house he's actually in. So they win the House Cup, legit, fair and square, no Dumbledore shenanigans necessary. McGonagall has to sadly settle in for another 7 years or so of the Slytherin house continuing to win the House frickin' Cup because Snape's going to become an unbearable bastard.
Yeah, we kind of touched on the Dursleys being nicer thing.
Slightly.
But
I feel like
girl, but
if Harry was a boy and the Dursleys treated him as a normal child,
Dudley
or
would have
like
been a better kid.
Dudley probably wouldn't have been as spoiled. They probably would have been raised as two normal children.
Plot twist. It was only because Petunia got a divorce from Vernon.
I don't think I see that happening.
No.
If Petunia decided
Petunia likes her house too much.
But if Petunia decided to raise Harry as if her own child, Vernon would have theoretically had a more uproar about that because he was he didn't even understand why Petunia agreed to it.
To be fair, though, he only followed in step with her in certain parts of the series. Because he was,
He would have had to defer to her because that's her blood family. He has no say.
And he does other points. He does defer. She'd be like, think about what the neighbors would say. And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay.
Yeah. So, basically, to be honest, the Dursleys being nice doesn't make any serious radical changes to book 1, to be perfectly honest. Harry's got a nicer home life.
I feel like
Hagrid wouldn't have had to come get him.
Yeah, I feel like they would have given him. They would have.
So who gets Harry?
Nobody.
Who shows? Oh, yeah.
Petunia would help him.
They would have helped him at
if she was
Diagon
nicer
Alley.
to Harry, it would mean she was also
Okay, so
more
Harry
accepting of the magic.
doesn't have a close connection with Hagrid.
Yeah, he would have been more like Hermione. He might
doesn't. You're right.
Yeah.
The big plot twist is that he doesn't stop.
He's gonna be smarter.
He would have no reason to.
He's gonna be more willing to try in his housework because a lot of the reasons he's not a good student is because he wasn't allowed to outshine Dudley.
Yep.
He's gonna be a better student in this version as well.
Dudley would be a lot nicer and probably skinnier. Because I don't think they.
Maybe not. I feel like
they would have spoiled him as much.
He's not going to be as big, but I feel like he's still going to be pretty.
Yeah, because I feel like I was gonna say I feel like some of that is also genetics because they describe Vernon as being large.
But like the biggest
and Marge.
But part of it is just also like basically we take from Harry to give to Dudley, and they wouldn't have done that. They would have been like, no,
you both get equal shares.
Equal shares.
Vernon gets to actually Dudley and Vernon are a lot more understanding of the wizarding world because they have to go through with all of it unless Petunia alone goes with him. She did say she went to at least the Hogwarts Express, so she should know.
So it could be either they're aware and accepting of it, or they're like, I don't want nothing to do with it. You're not telling Dudley this. You can take Harry and deal with this and leave us out of it.
That's true.
So Petunia basically shows up. He interacts with... she tells him everything from the start. the contents of the letter get revealed to Harry, so he
parents.
Harry goes to school with a bit more with
Less questions.
Less questions.
She might tell him, like, there's no guarantee that you're going to be a wizard.
I feel like...
But once the magic started showing, she would be like, okay, this is probably a sign.
If it was me, I probably wouldn't say anything, but when I got the letter, I've been like,
oh, yeah.
Here's
about
the thing.
That. Yeah. It's
yeah.
like, okay,
so
magic.
but he also doesn't go in with any extra like baggage. So he doesn't have the negative. He does not have Hagrid's negative correlation with Slytherin at all, because Hagrid's the one who talks about it. So he's got a higher chance of being in Slytherin in this universe.
Petunia might mention that offhandedly that Snape was in Slytherin.
It depends. It depends on what all Dumbledore put in the letter and what Petunia remembered from Lily growing up at Hogwarts.
And it also depends on if she changed her attitude after Lily or not. Like if she didn't have the resentment towards Lily before, or if it's just when she found out that Lily died, she's like,
she knew about the Azkaban guards. She knew about the Dementors. And not hating. So I feel like she'd probably be like, okay, this is the house your mom and dad were in and everything. This is where you need to go. She's going to have all of the knowledge that she needs to get Harry on that train with enough knowledge about who his mom is at least. She might not know much about James intentionally because she might not necessarily wanted to talk to him.
Like I said, it might have changed on when she had decided to change her attitude.
Harry probably knows a lot more about his mom, probably has a more emotional connection with his mom during this point in time. Might take up a little bit more after mom.
Might be sad that Snape doesn't like him.
Yeah, like he walks in with like, you were friends with my mom. Harry might
tell me more about my mom.
Harry might have a
better relationship with Snape. Once he went up to Snape and be like, "Hey, my aunt told me that you knew my mom really well. Can you tell me more about my mom?" Snape would have been like, "Oh shit, I was."
Oh, dude, direct approach. Snape's entire thought process of what he was expecting when he sees Harry
changes.
Just automatically has to go out the door. I can see Harry basically tracking him down before potions classes start.
And then he sees
Harry's
mom's eyes just looking at him pleadingly, like, "Please tell me about my mom, please."
Oh God.
Snape
is not direct about it. I feel like we have fake detentions where he gives Harry a detention and everybody else is upset about it, but Harry does not mind because Harry gets to hang out in potions class and they basically spend time talking to each other.
Harry becomes great at potions.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
learns more about the potion ingredients because that's how his detentions are while he's learning more about his mom.
Yeah, fake detention, better at potions.
It's crazy to think about how much one change impacts so much of the book.
So this is actually going to be much more interesting than I thought it was going to be now that we're actually discussing this.
Oh, the Dursleys being nice?
Okay, so book one, Harry is one of the people now defending Snape. If Ron and Hermione...
He wouldn't have known about the vault at Gringotts.
Nope.
He would have known about...
He would have known about the theft, but he wouldn't have made the connection to that was the vault that Hagrid and I went to.
So he would not have made the connection automatically. But if we're going off of the impression that Dumbledore wants Harry to know, to test Harry's character, there has to be somebody who slips up at some point in time.
True. It's very possible that maybe alternatively Hagrid came to help Petunia out anyway. Because maybe she didn't go very often to
She wouldn't have known Hagrid. Snape. She knows Snape.
She would have been like, Snape, come take me to Diagon Alley.
Snape, she somehow there was a letter requesting help. You could resend an owl back if you need information.
Oh, yeah.
So she is like, all right, we can't send it back and everything, but there was a way we can do this. So Petunia knows about a way to get in contact with magical people because she was
Yes.
Lily, before she dies, somehow makes some sort of, Lily and Petunia reconcile at some point in time, before Lily dies. So she's in contact with Lily at some point so they can send letters. So she knows how to get a hold of an owl, sends it back and is like, I request Severus Snape. as the person to show Harry because I know Snape. You know what I mean? She doesn't, and I get the feeling Petunia wouldn't have been told that Snape went evil or anything because I feel like Lily would be like, I don't want to tell my sis. And it just so happens he's a teacher and stuff along those lines. So Snape shows up, explains all of the Hogwarts stuff, and kind of has to deal with the fact that he can't see James because it's literally just blatantly in front of his face. Because as soon as Harry gets the opportunity, he's going to ask about his mom.
Yep.
So this is our explanation.
Snape would have been there to do the vault instead of Hagrid.
Yes, and so Snape is the person who's picking up the stone. Ooh. That means that not only is Snape above suspicion in Harry's eyes, he's now above suspicion in the in whatever trio gets created.
Yeah.
Do we think Harry still ends up in Gryffindor though? I think so, with the connection to Mom.
Yeah.
I still think Harry is in Gryffindor. I think he's a higher chance of him being in Slytherin because of the interaction with Snape.
I feel like if all of the events still happened with Snape being suspicious, like, I feel like Harry would have been more like, hey dude, what's going on?
Yeah. And stuff along those lines. And Snape's not going to want to get him involved. But Harry, being Harry, eventually makes his way through the actual trials themselves. He still has the protection, so I feel like the ending goes through and everything. It just ends with Harry and Snape having a mutual understanding. They do not act like friends outside. Harry doesn't know why, but he does respect Snape's wishes. Snape gets to continue to be a spy, but there's an understanding between the two of them. Harry trusts
I don't like
Snape
you don't like me.
In public.
Except when the doors are closed and it's just you and I.
Harry trusts Snape in this universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like that would make the death scene so much more heartbreaking. Because Harry trusts Snape now full-heartedly.
He's known Snape most of his life.
He knows Snape. He trusts Snape and everything. This is interesting now. This really throws a wrinkle for book 3 especially.
True. Also, I told you it was an interesting theory.
Fair enough. I have to admit, this has a lot more legs than I thought. All right, we're getting a little bit late. We're at 1:35. Neville as Chosen One.
But I feel like we've talked about this enough in our other theories. Like, you basically just say it can never happen.
That doesn't mean I can't humor the idea.
Now he'll humor the idea. Every time I bring it up any other time, he's like, fuck you,
all
no.
I am uppity. I believe what I believe in everything. But I've already established other people, like, I was willing to entertain Hagrid or McGonagall taking Harry and raising him.
Fair.
This is the what-if brain, not inside of the internal logic consistency. I believe that the world works a specific way, that Neville was impossible to beat. He could have been, potentially, but without certain circumstances.
Alright, so let's say Neville...
I think his grandma would have been nicer to him.
Oh, yeah.
His parents being killed, as opposed to just being, like, that they should be like, "Ooh, I gotta be nice to my kid, because, like, he's all I have left."
And he's already magical, so there's no question.
Yeah.
There's no question with his family.
They would know, yeah.
You're right, they'd be like, oh, he's definitely going to Hogwarts, because, like, he stopped the Dark Lord.
Yeah, he's being magical.
I feel like...
So his life is going to be a little bit less chaotic, easier family life.
I feel like he'd be a less anxious kid.
I feel like there would be less pressure to... I feel like, well, maybe he'd be worse, because now being the chosen one and everything for Neville...
He'd be scared to fail.
He'd be scared to, like... he's gonna have a little bit of Voldemort in him thanks to the curse. So maybe we have...
Maybe he'd be a little bit more rebellious?
Scared to fail, I feel more potential. Like, he's just naturally stronger as a wizard.
I feel like...
He gets the protection because he's living with his mom's side of the no, he's living with Dad's side of the family.
Is it his...
Yeah, Grandma's dad.
His Grandma Longbottom?
Yeah. Unless we want Dad's death to be the one that instigates the sacrifice. For internal consistency.
Yeah.
There is a chick that works for Voldemort who Voldemort trusts and asks, is like, I want the dad. Man, that guy's a dilf, man. He's an Auror. He's a sexy motherfucker. Cool. I want him. Voldemort's like, I'll give him a shot. He says no, so he gets the he's the last man standing. So we can keep the protection. Dad's love. Yeah. Okay. Screw it. We're doing complete instead of mother's love. It's dad's love.
Then, is Neville the main character, or is it still Harry?
It's still we're still going. Neville chosen one. It's dad's slug sacrifice
well, yeah,
thing,
but
basically.
the books are Harry Potter books, so will we still be Harry main character, or are we just changing it to what if Neville was the main character?
All right, so here's the $1 million.
Two different crap. We're supposed to be wrapping this up, and instead we offer two alternatives.
Well, I was thinking if it's still a Harry main character story, I just get the feeling that Neville would not be interested or like, oh, there's weird shit. Oh, well, it's Hogwarts. But Harry would be like, no, there's a mystery here. I want to know. And he would end up solving it on behalf of Neville.
He'd rope Neville into solving mysteries because he's the curious one.
Yeah.
Time out. We need to roll this back a little bit because here is the kicker. What happens to the Potter family? Now, do we want to reverse their roles? Neville's parents die. Harry's goes to
St. Mungo's.
But then he'd still end up with Sirius.
That's a possibility. Now, here's the other possibility. Do we have James and Lily do not have jobs. So what's going to happen is basically they're not going to be out and about. So the 4 people that attack the Longbottoms can't attack the Longbottoms. It's Bellatrix, her husband, somebody else, and Barty Crouch Jr. They are hunting for Voldemort at this point in time, and they attack the Longbottoms. Did they have the same reason to attack the Potters? This is the $1 million question here, because there's so many things that happen if Neville's the chosen one.
Because Neville's parents were Aurors, and Harry's parents weren't. I don't think they would have gone after the Potters.
So, we create, in this universe, there's probably somebody else they go against. So somebody else in the Auror office dies. Or something along those lines.
Well, unless they were going after the Potters simply because Lily was Muggleborn. They had their blood purity bullshit.
Yes, but they were specifically on a mission to find Voldemort.
Yeah.
Do they have an excuse on that trail?
Information.
Yes. So I feel in this scenario, Harry Potter gets both of his parents, and they don't get sent
to St.
Mungo's. Harry gets raised with his family.
Harry gets raised with Harry. Yep. That makes sense.
I'm losing my voice. I'm sorry. Harry gets a loving family. Do we go off of... I don't remember if this is true or not, but I feel like I remember somewhere, if it was fan fiction or not, Lily was pregnant with the second kid, and that kid was going to be named as Snape. Are you sure? Okay.
Oh, I'm almost positive that was fanfic.
Okay, fair enough. Then, okay, so do the Potters ever have any more kids? Do we think that they're going to have a second kid?
Hell yeah, they were going to have more kids. Do you think that they could have stopped fucking long enough to not have kids?
We have no idea what they're doing. Seriously. I need some water. Sorry.
Look, man, he was obsessed with his wife. They were fucking all the time.
So, do we want to give him a little brother, a little sister? We have both. Harry is the oldest of 3 kids. Just like Harry's got 2 younger siblings, just like he has 3 kids with Ginny in the original series ending.
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right, so family live. Harry has a brother and sister. We still haven't decided. Do we want to do? You know what? Screw it. It's still the Harry Potter franchise. Harry's just not the chosen one. So, year 1 starts up. Harry goes to Hogwarts and everything. He knows about Snape. He knows about the Marauders. His dad teaches him. Probably tells him his stories and stuff. But I don't think James struck me as a bit lazy and stuff. And since his son's not in any immediate danger, Harry shows up just like Ron and any other student at this point in time at Hogwarts. There is nothing extraordinary about Harry, outside of the fact that his parents were part of the Order of the Phoenix.
I think Lily would have made Harry would have been friends with Neville outside because Lily would have been like, we need to go share with the family.
Okay, so Harry,
Death, like, because they were her friends. The Longbottoms would have been her friends.
Harry is friends with Harry's friends with Neville way before the series starts.
So
Harry also knows Neville's the boy who lived, but Harry, because he grows up alongside Neville, is not impacted by the, oh, you're so and so. Now, Harry is immune
they're
to
like,
it.
oh my god, you're friends with Neville,
Harry
the boy who lived, and Harry's like, the what?
Yeah, and
Like Harry's like, he's not really as great as you guys are making out. Trust me, I know the guy.
But he's one like, yeah,
Just a normal dude.
Dude that has a toad, like, whatever.
Puts his pants on one leg at a time like I do.
Right.
Harry's being a sass pot about the whole thing. I can easily see him being. Harry's even more of a sass pot. Yeah, Harry's so sassy in this.
He goes to his parents like, Mom, I don't get it. Everyone's like freaking out about it. He was like, he's just a guy like everybody else. Because his mom taught him not to like feed into that. And
yeah.
James is sitting there like, no, you gotta hype it up. Like,
take advantage of it, son.
He wouldn't call him the chosen one till book
Be his
6,
main man.
Be like, he's the man. Like, yeah, you be his hype man, Harry. Be his hype man.
Okay.
Help him get them ladies.
Next question. Does Peter get outed as a traitor?
Would Peter be a traitor?
Well, no, he was a spy before. He was a spy. They knew there was a spy. There was even the like little fans and stuff with Dumbledore eyeing Peter. But does Peter? So, in this question is, all three of the Marauders are out of jail because there's no reason for anybody to suspect? So.
Mm-hmm. I thought
That
Peter
means
only turned traitor because Voldemort was going to come after them.
No, he was a traitor beforehand.
Oh, okay.
He turned him over after the fact, and it wasn't immediate because of the note in Book 7. So I think Peter stays secretly loyal. Stays
to Voldemort.
Yeah.
And stays friends with the Potters.
Yeah, stays secretly loyal, still friends with Potters. I feel like this could be a very important plot point when Book 4 hits, basically, afterwards. So, basically, Harry still, like, Harry knows Sirius, Harry knows Lupin, Harry knows Peter, he knows James. They have this tight camaraderie. I feel like Harry wants, like, this is even more Marauders 2.0 in this case. He's got Peter, he's going to have Hermione, he's going to have Ron. All four of them are going to be the Marauders. Snape would be
in Azkaban.
No, he wouldn't.
Snape would be in Azkaban.
Snape
would be in Azkaban because he never would have turned traitor to
Voldemort. Yeah. Snape stays loyal Death Eater.
So Peter would have been outed.
Not necessarily.
It depends on if Snape was trying to.
Okay, now here's the $1 million question. Snape doesn't turn traitor. Does Snape use the excuse of Imperious Curse and stay out of it, like Remus or like Lucius Malfoy?
Depends on how many people knew he was good at legitimate.
Wait. Oh, fuck. Karkaroff outed him in the secret flashback.
Yep, he did.
So Snape would have been in jail.
Snape would have been in jail.
Snape is in prison. Oh, God. This really screws with shit. Snape stays in prison. Snape is in Azkaban.
So who's Potion's teacher, then?
Who is Potion's teacher?
Slughorn. Never retired. Because he didn't cause the death of Lily.
Was that why he retired?
I feel like
he retired, I think, because of the stuff with Tom and everything. But I think if Lily was like his biggest regret.
Yeah. So
Potion.
I
don't think he would have cared as much about. Well, and Neville was part of the Slug Club.
So yeah,
but
Potion's teacher is Slughorn. All you.
Not because of his parents.
Okay, let's see here. So we've got most of our setup
This
for
is a bigger theory than I thought it was going to
Yeah.
book. Okay, so book one, Harry's got his family. Harry is now best friends with Neville. Neville. I feel like if Neville's the chosen one, but Harry's still the main character, Neville slides into the background. Harry's the person that talks.
Hey, but how does Harry convince Neville to confront Quirrell?
I feel like that's gonna be the Horcrux's influence and stuff. Neville's gonna
Like
be
Neville's drawn to it?
Neville's a little bit more drawn to it. He's not the person pushing for this, but he can't get himself out
let
of
go
it
of
because
it,
that's
exactly.
his friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Harry's his oldest friend. Neville and him are basically ride or die, basically. Neville and Harry are the good friends. Ron and Harry are still friends with each other, but they're not.
I don't want to lose it.
Go.
Okay, so I think that they would have changed it a little bit where the potion to go forward through the flame, there would have been enough for 2. Harry would have gone with Neville through the flames to confront Quirrell. He would have been like, I got your back, man. Then Harry would have been put in danger, like knocked unconscious or something. And Neville would have been like, aw, fuck no. He won't do anything to save himself, but he'll stick up for his friends.
That does track with Neville's
Boom!
character.
Got it.
Neville, okay, Harry makes it all the way to the end of the book, gets knocked out, and Neville ends up burning him with the love protection.
Yeah.
Harry,
This theory's gonna fall apart in later books, I think. But
hey, everybody dies is a perfectly solid way for what ifs to end.
That's true.
But we could also we could come up with excuses for why we get a happy
no
ending
one
as well.
would fucking believe Neville is chosen as a champion in the 4th book. Unless he starts gaining more confidence because of year 1.
It wouldn't surprise me if he does. Neville burns. So he gets the same ending as Harry, but
Yep. Yep.
Does Harry still play Quidditch for year 1 again? I feel like that doesn't
Hell
change
yeah.
much. Yeah, Harry still.
Because Harry would still be confrontational about Draco stealing Neville.
Oh.
He'd be worse about
He'd be
it.
worse.
He'd be worse. Harry is still youngest seeker in a century. Yeah, I would feel like it's kind of weird. Is that like Peter? This Marauders version of Peter is not only braver, but the Sirius, like Harry is almost like I'm gonna compare Harry to Sirius all the time. Harry is the Sirius Black, but the Sirius Black is attached more to the Peter character than the James character.
Yes.
So it's kind of a weird combination. All of the pieces are there; they just don't fit together the same
Neville
way.
Ron is the James character, and Hermione's still Lupin.
Yeah, I feel like Harry gets the final points this year around with being a true friend and standing
Sticking with to the end.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Being ride or die.
Harry gets 20 points. Here's another Harry 20 points for being a true friend.
But we do gotta wrap this up.
I feel like they still figure out the mystery. I feel like there's some other things and stuff. Anyway, it's 10:41. We're wrapping things up here. We might touch base with the Neville being the chosen one for book 2 and everything for some of the stuff on year 1. But we might pop back and do other ones where we'll backtrack and cover other things.
Or this will end up getting narrowed down to fewer and fewer theories because we realize that these theories don't work.
Yeah, we could drop things off if, like, at a certain point we realize, well, that's the end, or we could have it do the opposite. What if some of these stories has it so that Voldemort never comes back? Harry's got too many advantages, and Voldemort just can't make it back. Because if there's a version of Harry in here that's like Peter dies instead of trying to send him over to them, Dumbledore, he does not get the person that gets him back on his feet.
And then Dumbledore just was like, I'm just gonna go kill these Horcruxes so he never comes back.
Yeah.
But
So, Harry, what if? It is almost 11 o'clock. We're wrapping things up here.
But you can find
yeah.
me on social media at Luna's Creation Corner.
You can find me on YouTube at Brandywine Stitches or all the other socials at Hockeytown Candle Co.
Cole Sanders signing out on Twitch and stuff along those lines. So if somebody wants to do it, I did it for the last one.
So until next time, keep your wands at the ready.